Welcome to the Paul Chandler Show. I'm your host, Paul Chandler. In tonight's episode, we're going to be using the Padzilla again, and we'll be looking at on how the surgery is performed for strabismus surgery on the recession technique. Now, there are two different techniques how this can be done, the recession and the resection, but tonight we'll be looking at how the recession is done. Now, if you're like me, I don't mind, if you're looking at a surgery being performed, you cut open your chest, you got little gizzards there, I don't mind looking at that, that's okay to me. But anything with dealing with the eye, I just get kind of creeped out by that. So our video tonight is not going to be the actual surgery itself being performed. It's going to be an animation of the surgery. So that kind of helped me on the wooziness there. And I'll be explaining what the provider is doing during the surgery. So that way as the coder, we know what the doctor is doing and we match it up to the coding. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. We'll be looking at surgery being performed for strabismus surgery with the recession technique. Welcome back, everyone. So today we're going to be looking at how the strabismus surgery is being performed. But again, like I said before, that you can either have a resection or a recession type of procedure. And today we're going to be looking at surgically how the recession is performed. And like I mentioned before, our intro, that just cutting into the eye is just not something that I can stomach, if you will. So we're looking at an animation video of how the strabismus surgery is being performed. Okay, so using the Padzilla, showing the video again. So this is the beginning of the strabismus surgery. So at first, what the doctor does is the conjunctival incision, because the muscle is underneath and we have to be able to get to the muscle to be able to move it back to the recession. So the doctor makes a little incision at the bottom first. And then with the tools, then just kind of goes in and scrapes underneath it to just kind of cut it and be removing it from the conjunctiva above the sclera. And then if the doctor makes another incision there, and now the doctor can start peeling the conjunctiva back from the sclera itself. So we have that incision made up on top. And this is where part of the reason, again, why we're doing an animation video of it and not an actual surgery of it. Because now the doctor then has to scoot back the sclera, be able to pull it back, the conjunctiva from the sclera. The doctor takes the tool underneath there and with the scissors and opens it up. So that way you don't simply just want to peel it back. Because think about it, if you have a scab, if you will, like on your skin, if you just peel it back, it starts dripping deeper down. So the doctor made the incision first, be able to remove the conjunctiva from the sclera. And now though, the doctor has to liquefy it a little bit. So that way, I'm sure you've heard the commercial, the dry eyes and the red eyes in the commercial, to be able to make it a little bit more liquid. Now the doctor has to get to the muscle itself. So just like a fish hook, again, you may not want to have fish after this, the doctor goes in with the hook, goes underneath the muscle, and we see what's kind of pinkish here. So then the doctor starts to expose the muscle that we're going to be performed as the recession procedure. And the doctor then has to cut the sclera on both sides, be able to remove the sclera and have the muscle exposed. So this is the point where this muscle will be scooted back, because the recession is where the doctor makes an incision and scoots it back. A resection is when the doctor makes two incisions and remove muscle in the middle. So that's the resection, but here we're doing the recession. So the doctor has to place sutures in. So the red horizontal lines that represents the muscle itself. Then the doctor makes the sutures because then the doctor has to be able to secure it before the muscle can be cut and then scooted back. So typically a provider will make sutures, one in the middle, one on top, and at least one on the bottom. So simply using the other tools, because the doctor can't get their fingers in there. They use the tools to be able to place the sutures in. Now that they have to do the dissection of it. So they have the sutures, keeping the muscles back in the location. So when the doctor cuts the muscle, without those sutures, the muscles would just start scooting back at that point. But the sutures keep the muscle in place, so then the doctor will be able to scoot it back a little bit. And then now that you do have a little bit of the muscle that's left, So the doctor has to make a measurement to see how much that we're dealing with as far as how far back the muscle is actually being moved. Because based on the patient's condition, it's not always the same length going back to the point the measurement has been made. Now, once the muscle has been moved back, the provider has to suture the muscle back into the new location. So the top right purple, black, and purple, those are just to keep the muscle in place while it was moved back. But now then the doctor is making new sutures to be able to secure the muscle in the same location where it needs to be based on where it's being held at. So then obviously the nice little tools going in, the doctor's able to hook through the sutures, keep it in the place. And then once that is okay, then the doctor's able to remove the retention sutures. Sutures are keeping the muscle at the new location. But now they have to close the wound, because of course I can leave a patient like this. So then be able to close the wound, then the doctor simply just folds back. And you do see the sutures where they were placed before. The doctor just closes back the conjunctiva and places sutures at the location there. And notice also this entire time, the eye, in this case with the superior rectus and inferior rectus, the muscle, if you will, at the 6 o'clock and the 9 o'clock positions, the doctor has always had the sutures placed, and that way the eye is staying in the same spot. So then it won't have a reaction to automatically want to move and scoot back. So then the doctor again removed the retention sutures. The muscle was already resected back to the right location for the recession there. The doctor then closed up the eye, made the sutures there. So then at this point then, the doctor simply would just remove the sutures at the superior and inferior rectus, and the patient can start the recovery process. So that's just simply put down as how the strabismus surgery is performed on the recessions. And then another episode of the show, then we'll be showing you how the provider can do the strabismus surgery on the resection, the other technique. So recession, one cut, it gets scooted back. Resection, the doctor makes 2 cuts, removes some muscle in the middle, then sutures them back together. And that's again how you do strabismus surgery. I do thank you for watching this episode of the Paul Chandler Show, and have an awesome rest of your day. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's so easy. It's right there. A little button. Just push it. Subscribe. I got all night. Nothing else to do. Just subscribe.